Good late Thursday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with an update on some strong storms impacting parts of northern Florida, especially right now, where we do have some significant weather advisories in play. No warnings right now, but there is a tornado watch that's in effect till 5 o'clock. You saw me maybe post that earlier on Facebook and Twitter. It has been trimmed back a little bit, not seeing areas out toward Perry, Mayo, and Cross City under that really anymore, as those Tallahassee counties being trimmed on out. But we are watching this line here. We've kind of seen the line moving a little bit earlier on, so that's kind of limited some of our destabilization. But some of our more southern areas will be seeing that potential here to kind of be able to get some of those stronger characteristics to maybe mix in with the storminess. But significant weather advisory right now toward Gainesville and Stark, indicative here of again some stronger weather moving through. I know some different radars we can use. I'm using the Moody Air Force Base angle right now, but you can see here some rain, heavier rain, maybe some gusty winds upwards of 50 miles an hour, just below severe limits toward Gainesville there in Alachua County near the University of Florida as well. So let's go ahead and pop up our UF Weatherstrip Camera right now, see you guys how it looks there right now, visual outside. Again, a tornado watch, significant weather advisories, they are in play. There's significant weather advisories across different areas, one there toward Gainesville, but we're not seeing any actual warnings necessarily for thunderstorm or tornado at this moment, so that's some good news. But you do see it's gloomy out there toward Alachua County, and we have some gustier winds right now. That severe threat again being limited some, which is some great news. But the Weather Service in Jacksonville talking here in the chat as I go ahead and move away from Weatherstem for now. We'll go ahead and move away from this shot here for the time being as we continue to monitor some of our different looks here across the area. You can see here this line, this axis, and they are saying that the focus for strong and severe storms is setting up across north central and possibly coastal areas in northeast Florida through the mid-afternoon. As the latest goes, east infrared satellite imagery indicates rapidly cooling cloud tops offshore the Florida nature coast, and that means that we're going to have to be really watching as there's a convective seal that recently passed through Cedar Key that produced a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust. I know no actual warning down there. The radar coverage is pretty poor, so we got to be kind of careful here too, because it could actually have something that may be occurring here in some of these areas down towards Levy or Alachua, Marion that we can't really see within the radar. Even Bradford is not out of the question, but we have to just look here as areas from Gainesville to St. Augustine, especially in points southward, will be favored here for strong to isolated severe thunderstorm development through the mid-afternoon hours, with the primary hazards, according to the Weather Service here, being damaging wind gusts to 50 to 70 miles an hour, frequent lightning strikes, and an isolated tornado or two, which cannot be ruled out in this situation. Got to watch for some urban flooding here. I'll just kind of throw that in there. They were talking about that here earlier as well, maybe in some of these more populated areas like Gainesville, out Waterford Pond. As I know towards dark, we've gotten quite a bit of rain today. Nothing too robust coming through really, but a little bit of those efficient rainfall producers getting up to about 1.24 inches on the rain gauge here. So that kind of tells the story on this Thursday. I mean, we're not even to noon, and over an inch is the most rain we've got on that daily total there in a while. So again, giving you guys an idea of what's going on. And in fact, let's go ahead and pop up a different visual here of this situation. We'll go ahead and go on over toward our radar scope technology, because this will kind of show you guys how things look here from a different angle, at least, as we do. Again, maybe have some of those stronger winds trying to mix down. And we had some accident earlier move through Bradford. I didn't get much of a wind here where I'm at, but there was a potential for some gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour. That was at least a possibility, but again, didn't have much mixing down earlier. But this is the line here, folks, coming through a little earlier than anticipated. Again, limiting that severe threat, because once we get behind this, that severe threat really gets pretty low, almost zero, honestly. No, I don't want to say quite zero, because we do have that spin, but it really drops off here once you get behind the line. So could end up getting that tornado watch cleared out here as we are looking ahead in toward the timeline here pretty soon, even as we're looking towards some of these areas. So again, Lake Butler, Stark, Gainesville here. You see lightning. This will help us even if we don't have good radar coverage. Could have some stronger action around Williston. So let's go ahead and tell you guys that. That's something you can see from anywhere here as we're looking, even if the radar coverage isn't as good. So could have a stronger area of wind enhancement. Williston, maybe Micanopy, somewhere in that area right now as we're looking, moving in toward areas there of northern Marion County, possibly in southern Alachua County, Interstate 75 even. Got to remain aware. I can't write a quick spin up here just because, again, things are looking up there pretty high. I may not know exactly what's happening at the surface, but there is a tornado watch in place, so you got to remain weather aware. And you see some of the stronger winds here above the surface are really shown here. You saw some of those brighter colors telling that story here this morning. So again, just have to be kind of cognizant of that, aware of that. As we get up toward the north now, you can see in Baker County, near Interstate 10, watching some stuff. Even a little bit of maybe broad rotation here in Union County. Nothing too significant though right now. Probably just more the winds kind of moving around there a little bit. Not really seeing too much though as this moves on through here with our prefrontal squall. So again, I just want to continue to monitor the situation here. I know this stuff, again, with the lightning like it is, even if it doesn't so well in velocity, it makes me think we have a little more robust action down here in this area of our viewing circle, maybe just east of Archer, southeast of Archer there, already moving through in that area. But again, you see there some stronger action, no warnings. So if we didn't have a tornado watch, we wouldn't be on. But we are watching things very carefully for a quick formation of some tornadic activity. Let me go ahead and go on over to our other system now, because this will help us out and kind of show you some of the different characteristics. I know we got to watch toward the nature coast here a little bit because they have more parameters. I know the tornado watch till 5. You can see that here going up as far north here as that Florida-Georgia border in the yellow, but going as far south here as southwest Florida, really, as we get down toward Cape Coral. So the instability is a lot higher down here, so we may end up getting the severe potential to be a little bit more robust toward west central Florida than in our viewing area. I think that'll probably be the case, to be quite honest. As we're looking here, as we look at some more information, you can see the energy trying to filter up here in the latest update, but it's really struggling to do so. As you see, our tornado parameters are kind of up here a little bit more, but again, have to have that overlap here, and we're getting more of that down toward areas there west central Florida, seeing our significant parameter there with the tornado thread, and then you see our supercell composite there, really seeing that. So again, the thing's kind of coming together more down toward west central Florida. So this is out of our area, but maybe Homosassa Springs, you see Newport Richey there, even areas in between that, Brooksville, Bushnell there. Maybe having to watch things a little more carefully based on those parameters overlapping. We're just waiting to see. But again, things have been a little bit less intense up to the north than that we were expecting. So that's the good news. That's really good news here, folks. I mean, getting some rain. You can use the rain here as November pretty dry as we're looking ahead generally. But you see these temperatures here in the lower 70s. I mean, we were forecasting us to get a little bit higher than this, closer to that upper 70 range, and that really hadn't happened. So that's going to kind of help to preclude some of that action from developing for most of us. But Marion County has got there, and that's what we have to be on more guard down toward Ocala, one of our bigger areas there in toward our central Florida region almost as we get down there. But again, watching things carefully. You see Leesburg, 80 degrees. So again, the parameters are in play further to the south, and some of that's going to try to come on into the picture, so just be aware of that. But to the north here, things have stayed a little cooler than anticipated right here around Williston. Again, got to kind of be careful here because things could kind of transpire as this kind of moves across. And I do want to see some satellite images as well. This might cause us to lose a couple frames, but it's important to see, guys, what's going on here in this setup, because you'll be able to kind of see the development here. Arian Levy, I'm a little surprised. Maybe warning would need to be issued, honestly, here as we get down toward this area. A little surprised that we don't have one yet in this area down here west of Homosassa Springs. When you have these colder cloud tops, that indicates more vigorous development, more severe potential when that's co-located with the lightning like that too. Up to the north, once we get toward our area, we're not seeing that as much. Again, the exception here, northeastern Levy County, and then areas off of Homosassa Springs here as well. Some of that's kind of trying to translate into those southern counties, though, as we do have a little bit of a northerly component with things here today, as we are watching the situation. But again, we'll continue to track things, and I'll be back here at the top of the hour. So go ahead and wrap it up for now, since we don't have any warnings here in play. But again, a tornado watch till 5. Granted, some of us had a bigger risk than others here, especially as we get probably again from Gainesville, Palatka southward here at this point with the setup that we're in. So again, continuing to watch things. You see a gust only at a 19 in Gainesville. So again, some of those winds really not reaching the surface as much up toward the north, but could have some more vigorous development down toward Williston there. In Levy County, all that lightning being clustered there is cause for some concern. So we'll keep watching, we'll keep tracking. I'll be back here in about 14 minutes with the latest information. Good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here at the top of the hour and at exactly 12 o'clock, tracking here that line of storms. Really seeing, again, that accent kind of stay more to the south here with the robust concerns. We did just get a gust report there a little bit higher at Gainesville, reporting now at 44 miles an hour. So getting a little bit higher winds down here, not maybe to severe limits for the most part yet, but I am seeing some areas here of spin maybe trying to emerge now up to Jacksonville right around Hawthorne. So when you start watching here in Putnam County, again, things moving really quickly. This line moving quicker than anticipated, really kind of surging forward a little bit. But you can see, again, can be some weak rotation around Hawthorne. So can't completely rule out some type of severe thunderstorm and or tornado warning here as we get further on off toward the east here. So I just want to be watching the port areas there in our southeastern zones like Putnam, St. John's, Flagler, and Marion. So just giving you guys a heads up again, the northern extent of this is not as strong as it could have been, and we'll probably get the tornado watch to be dropped pretty soon, though there is still some wind energy up here, so don't completely discount the accent here as we get further up into Bradford County, right where I am around Stark. But again, there's not as much concern here, so that's the good news. You see the significant weather advisory even has been trimmed back now as of noon, more for the accent down here that we're kind of seeing from eastern Alachua and far southeastern Bradford. You do see a little bit of that closer toward Melrose there, getting into some of this here. So at least maybe some gusts to 50 down there, but up north, probably not even gusts to that. Again, no official warnings in place. So that is definitely great news here as we are watching our viewing circle. I'll go ahead and zoom back out just a little bit now as we're watching the weather situation emerge. You can see maybe some areas of rotation down toward Levy, toward Marion, and I do see an update here from the Weather Service there in Jacksonville talking about some of this action toward Citrus even. Based on the overall movement here, we're pretty far on the radar. So it's going to be hard to get a look at things, but the storms over interior Citrus are approaching. It looks like the Withlacoochee River there in southwestern Marion County. They continue to strengthen, and they'll be capable of producing damage and wind gusts and possibly a tornado near the Dunellen area here during the next 15 or 30 minutes, and the cell will be closely monitored for severe thunderstorm development and other storms along the convective line moving out of north central Florida toward Putnam, St. John's, and far southern Clay may produce wind gusts to 45 to 55 through about 1 o'clock, and they move rapidly east-northeastward. So again, kind of watching things here. Do have to keep an eye a little bit on Clay, and again, see that Hawthorne area. We're starting to see things come into play a little bit better now, unfortunately. Granted, this has left a lot of our area here without a super potential now, which is great news, obviously, but we are still going to see a threat here in some of our remaining counties here. As we look ahead over the next few hours, we got to stay aware here as the things are really starting to ramp up here within the parameters. So you can kind of see how things are starting to intensify around Lockaloosa. We get some type of warning here pretty soon as this accent again moves east-northeast. So we have to watch here toward Putnam County, especially over the next little bit here in Putnam County. Maybe seeing a developing circulation here even as we look at our debris detection to make sure nothing's popping out. I don't think that's anything. We're just so far from the radar. Could just be more enhanced wind energy, but it's hard to say. And then the Dunellen area, we are so far from the radar. I mean, they could just go ahead and issue a precautionary thunderstorm or tornado warning down here, because it's going to be hard to see if something develops. We've had issues down here because this is a known radar hole, honestly. As we get down here, it's just so hard to see as we're looking further down toward the surface. We don't know what's happening down there, but I see that there looks like there's a little spin in the area there around Pine Ridge. That seems like it's starting to up a little better. We'll try to see if this is a deeper spin. I mean, granted, we're already higher up, but it does seem like at least a little bit of that spin there goes higher up even. So could be seeing something move toward Dunellen. So let's go ahead and give you guys that heads up there. In Dunellen, a possible tornado could be headed your way, as the Weather Service is mentioning that here. So that were to be the case, we'd have a tornado warning issued there towards southwestern Marion, which is in our area. Now, Citrus not in a covered area, but Marion is, so we got to be kind of cognizant of what's happening there. As I'll go ahead and see our covered area real quick, our county zone, you can see what we're talking about here with Marion County down to the south, Levy County here as well. So again, just going to continue to watch things as the situation does progress, as the situation does develop here. As again, some of that action staying more toward the south here today. Really seeing that honestly as I kind of move over more down here again, getting off with the way the warm front is. We're seeing the action not as robust to the north, but to the south we're starting to see more of those parameters potentially being realized and able to get some of that wind down to the surface with it, as we saw that gust there to about 44 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour there in Alachua County, and I see we had a gust of 46 miles an hour there in Citrus County on the Mesonet station, Weatherstrip station in that area. So again, going to continue to watch things very carefully. Let's go ahead and go over those tornado safety tips in case we do get a tornado warning issued for the Dunellen area. You want to go ahead, again, you're under tornado watch, just make sure you charge those charging those devices up and have multiple ways to get alerts. But with a tornado warning, if that is issued there, or for any other part of our zone here, okay, they have gone with now a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag for Alachua, Marion, and Putnam, parts of those until 12:45. So not a tornado warning, but a thunderstorm warning. Still got to be ready though. I mean, you want to go ahead and seek shelter inside a 30-foot anyway with a severe thunderstorm warning, and a lot of these still apply. And if you hear, of course, a freight train noise, go ahead and take your tornado precautions. So they have gone with a thunderstorm warning now toward this area. So let me go ahead and go back on over here toward our different modes of our system. That's actually for the other area here. So let's see. Okay, so we're going to go to the north now. It's for that other area we were tracking. That was kind of showing that enhancement there. So it just said Alachua, Marion, Putnam, so I wasn't 100% sure on that. But again, seeing that now pop up on our maps here around Hawthorne and Lockalusa until 12:45. It's still possible this other area could get a tornado warning here down toward Dunellen. So again, watching things carefully with that. So you are seeing now a severe thunderstorm warning now as we get in toward parts of our zones here, as we get specifically in the southeastern Alachua, north central Marion, and Putnam counties. Severe thunderstorm located over Hawthorne or 7 miles south of Melrose, moving east at 25 miles an hour. So Palatka, Interlochen, Pomona Park, as well as Melrose, Hawthorne, Georges Lake, Flora Home, Melrose Landing, Cross Creek, and Orange Springs under this warning, as we do have 60-mile-an-hour winds possible, and a tornado can't completely be ruled out either in here in this area as we get closer here towards some of these different roads. Getting down to street level mapping, you see North Grand Avenue, for instance. So I'm just going to have to continue to be watching to see if we get circulation to emerge. A lot of this is broader rotation in a way, so for thunderstorm warning is probably a good call because we are getting a pixel here to 50 miles an hour, ironically, just south here of, it looks like State Highway 20. So again, continuing to watch things very carefully here this afternoon as we do move past that noontime benchmark. Again, now a severe thunderstorm warning, our second warning in our viewing area of the day. Earlier we had a tornado warning out toward the Dixie County area, and now a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Alachua, Marion, and Putnam. There's a chance we could get a tornado warning for another part of Marion here pretty soon. Again, the radar is so far away, it'd be hard to see if something's moving toward Dunellen in terms of tornadic activity. So, giving you guys a heads up again, we showed you those tips for the thunderstorm warning. Pretty similar, not quite as extreme concern, but you still want to be watching there around Interlochen for a quick spin up. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning for areas there around Hawthorne, Lockalusa, Interlochen does get into Palatka. There's Satsuma as well. Eventually, as we edge closer toward 12:45. So let's go ahead and pop up some of those safety tips for the thunderstorm warning. I mean, again, we've kind of already gone over that pretty much, but minus what is good and bring the tips up. We haven't had a thunderstorm warning here in a while to talk about. I know just something that hadn't really been popping up too much here lately. So again, I'm going to continue to watch things very carefully here as we go ahead and bring some of that information up. Again, when thunder roars, you want to go indoors. You want to seek shelter inside a sturdy building and just stay away from windows in these type of situations. So again, we'll go ahead and bring that back down. But just continuing to watch here the scenario at large. A severe thunderstorm warning here until about 12:45, and we now have another thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. We'll really be on a lot longer here in the situation, but stuff that still could produce a quick spin up as we're looking down toward Unellen now. Again, Ocala, Bellevue under this as well. It's a thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. This is for southwestern Marion County now until 1 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm located 7 miles south of Rainbow Lake Estates. We have Ocala, Rainbow Lake Estates, Santos, Ocala Airport, Silver Springs, that Silver Springs Sword area. We're talking about Lake Weir, Bellevue, Dunallen, Burbank over there, as well as even Romeo. So again, continuing to watch this, the torrential rain, the severe thunderstorm, which can cause maybe even some wind damage, along with a tornado potential here in this area. We just have to be kind of watchful of this, as again so far away on the radar. We just have to go ahead and be really careful down there in that area. Let me go ahead and pop up the Tampa radar so if you have any better look at this. We'll pop this up here on radar scope. Just give me just a moment here. You can already see that does look pretty impressive there around Citrus Springs. Again, just entering to a market area. So that's definitely some rotation. I mean, the height on this is probably pretty similar to what we're getting out of Jacksonville here. But that's something that's going to be moving into our viewing area here at any moment. That's probably not the best track. But again, just giving you guys an idea here of what's going on now as we're at 12:12 on this Thursday. I'm gonna loop it so we can try to give you a little bit better track on that. But again, I see the lightning here in play as we're getting down toward the Gulf Coast, toward the Nature Coast here this afternoon. As the things really interesting to watch here within the different modes of the Doppler radar technology. I know we're getting quite a few frames, so let me make sure we zoom out just a little bit more so we can kind of see the progression here. It's just moving pretty quick. You're able to kind of see how this has been together pretty good, and a little surprising we didn't have some type of warning come out of the office down there in Tampa, whether severe thunderstorm or tornado. But we'll kind of try to track this here as, again, I see some of that action as it does move in toward Marion, maybe getting closer even toward Ocala here based on this track over the next little bit. So something to kind of be watching here as we are continuing to look at our Doppler technology. So again, I'll go ahead and zoom back out now. We'll continue to look here. I know the Tampa radar showing some of that wind up to the north as well. We'll just go ahead and show you what's happening here as we get toward Hawthorne. You can see the lightning and now more of that off toward Interlaken. So some wind enhancement moving toward Interlaken in just the next couple of minutes. Go ahead, be inside. You have that lightning danger, you have that wind danger, and maybe, just maybe, a quick spin up here. So again, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll wrap it up for now unless we have an imminent tornado threat or something late breaking. We'll be back around 12:30 again, unless we have some late breaking information like an imminent tornado threat. But things starting to heat up now here within our Doppler technology as we get toward the south here. Severe thunderstorm warnings now, 1 for parts of Marion until 1 o'clock, and then the 1 toward the north here, parts of Alachua, Marion, and Putnam until 12:45. Damaging winds, the big concern as we anticipated, but we have to watch for a quick spin up in both of these different areas here as the storminess moves off generally here toward the east-northeast. So in terms of the speed now, we're talking about 15 is what Jacksonville put on the southern area, 25 in the northern area, somewhere around 20, give or take. I mean, as we're watching this translation here in the pattern, I mean, they're saying east, but again, there is that little northerly component as well. So got to be mindful of that, and we'll be back here at the bottom of the hour, unless, of course, we have late breaking information we need to jump on for. I do see a little bit of interesting structure in northern Bradford County, but there's not much wind energy. We're kind of getting a little further up there into some cooler air. I mean, we're only at 72 where I'm at, and that's a little further toward the north, so that's kind of precluding some of that more robust development. We'll keep you updated. I know Weatherstrip is talking about still a decent inversion in toward Palatka with 72 degrees. That current temperature and that dew point at 70. So again, some of our parameters not really heating up quite as much there, and that might be kind of helping to limit some of the severe weather danger overall. But we'll keep you advised of the situation. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here at the bottom of the hour. Continue to watch some severe thunderstorms here moving across parts of our area here toward north central Florida. You see one camera angle here on our radar, and I'll go ahead and give you guys another angle now as we broaden it out a little bit more. Tornado watch in the broad yellow until 5 o'clock, but then the yellow polygons what we're focused on right now. And honestly, we're going to be really seeing the threat really kind of drop off as we get behind this line now. So really, Stark, Lake City, Lake Butler, the threat really subsiding. So that's really good news for folks, as we just didn't see the instability get as far north as anticipated. But these areas down to the south are getting into that, especially Ocala. They're at 79 degrees right now, and that means it's a more favorable environment for some isolated severe weather here to get down to the surface and cause some damage. So let's check out this storm around Ocala. Severe thunderstorm warning continuing here until about 1 o'clock. At 12:26, severe thunderstorm located 8 miles southeast of Rainbow Lakes Estates, was moving east at 15 now. These might be moving a little faster than that overall with the movement of the line. I think they're tracking the individual cells here, maybe individual severe thunderstorm. But Ocala, Rainbow Lake Estates there. Rainbow Lakes Estates, I should say, Santos, Ocala Airport, Silver Spring, Swords area there, Lake Weir, Bellevue, as was Dunellen, Burbank, and Summerfield under this. So we're going to continue to watch this carefully, checking for any rotation. You don't see a lot, but we're so far away on the radar. I'm going to go ahead and go to velocity because you wouldn't really pick out much probably in rotation tracker, as you just won't be able to see that to pop up as we're just so far away here on the beam. But you can see at least some of these divergent winds that could be indicative of some stronger winds trying to get out on the surface and a more favorable environment for that to be happening. So got to be watching that. Putnam County, not as favorable, but they still have some stronger winds showing up within the radar algorithms. We'll see if they keep this warning going past Palatka, but still looks pretty impressive on radar toward Palatka, and then maybe watching this off toward eastern areas there like Hastings later on. Again, if this warning is extended, but even if it's not, we're talking about winds maybe upwards of 50 miles an hour versus 60 miles an hour, and it's not a huge difference. Little less damage potential, but that wouldn't be a huge difference overall as we continue to watch things move across. I do think it's important to note, I'm going to switch back to our broad view again now because granted the severe threat here in our area, except for a few areas down toward areas in southern zones, it's been pretty limited here, that threat. So again, that's the good news. But as we get down toward west central Florida and maybe even east central Florida later on, that threat looks like it could be a little bit higher now, especially here Orlando under that slight risk here. We're talking areas here even as we get to Cape Coral, Sebring, some of these already in that tornado watch. But again, this line here in a more favorable environment for those winds to reach the surface. So we got to be prepared here for some of that damage potential. As I see a new warning just issued now to the coast for some of this northern axon. Here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag until 1:30 now for parts of Clay, Flagler, Putnam, St. John's. So we want to go ahead and make sure you guys are taking those precautions there. As severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from 6 miles northeast of George's Lake to near Orange Springs, moving east at about 35 miles an hour. So Palm Coast, St. Augustine, Palatka, Green Cove Springs, as well as Interlochen, Hastings, East Palatka, Wardgoff Village, St. Augustine Beach, and Marineland under this. And again, this we're talking about remaining alert for that possible tornado potential in here. Got to do that as there's some rotation, and we're still watching areas toward Ocala here as well. As the temperatures are warmer down there, higher down there, as we go ahead and take off our look at the watch there. I'll pull some of my parameters again. You do see the energy values of surface-based Cape really in play down there, and then that kind of interacts here with our tornado parameters, and you kind of see some of this axon here. I know a little bit of formation behind, but the conditions aren't going to be as favorable back behind this line for anything to be severe. I know they haven't cleared out the watch to some of these western counties in the Jacksonville zone yet. Maybe they're either busy with some warnings, or they may just want to make sure we don't have anything try to get going here behind the line, since it is in the middle of the afternoon. But Uh, we're just going to continue to watch, especially as we get down toward the south, because you see our risk area, technically a marginal risk toward the north, but a slight risk here further down and toward a few of our counties, but then central Florida more than anything here at this point. So 3 warnings right now, 2 areas we're watching in our local area. Severe thunderstorm warning here. A new one for parts of Clay, Flagler, Putnam, and St. John. 60-mile-an-hour winds possible here in this vicinity. We're going to go ahead and go back on over to another look at this here. I know continuing to watch this scenario. You see the wind, not a lot of rotation, but there's a little quick spin up couldn't be ruled out. I know not really seeing much rotation in and of itself. And then Ocala, a little more maybe we're further up on the radar, but got to be aware it could have some stronger winds. Maybe a quick spin up tornado in Ocala just because wouldn't be able to really see what's happening at the surface. So if you hear that roaring noise like you would hear from a freight train, go ahead and make sure you're taking those tornado precautions. But even in a severe thunderstorm, you got to remember that some of these can produce tornadoes. So go ahead and be inside, and even in an interior room, not a bad idea. As we go ahead now and look at some other things I have in our show. I know we've talked about this, but we'll talk about it again as we go on over toward our forecast. If you weren't with me last night, I know I haven't really updated this, but just wanted to let you guys know, since we're not doing a formal update tonight, if you're tuning in right now here, middle of the afternoon, we do have the 90% chance of rain today, but then the breezy to windy conditions are moving in behind a cold front. And then as we get toward tomorrow, you can see here the temperature's falling off a little bit more. And you see those really nice lows there, a little bit on the chilly side for Saturday and Sunday morning, and Halloween there, Halloween night, Sunday night, of course, gonna be pretty chilly for that as well before we started to get back near average. So just kind of giving you guys that extended look at things here real quick. I'm gonna step over real fast as we go ahead and say these averages and compare these. You can see some of these different numbers here in comparison. So looking at that, I know we're getting some updates from the Weather Service, so let me go ahead and pass those along to you guys right now. As we look back at the Doppler radar technology, you can see here convection continues to show signs of bowing out as it traverses Putnam and far southern Clay counties there with a potential over 40 to 60 mile an hour winds. And those gusts there extending into southeastern Clay and much of St. John's during the next hour, along with the blinding downpours and at least occasional lightning strikes. An isolated tornado cannot be ruled out along the line as it moves quickly there east-northeastward and soon crosses U.S. Highway 17 and continues in the general direction of the I-95 corridor in St. Johns County toward about 1 o'clock or so. That's the latest there from the Weather Service in Jacksonville as we're watching that. I know as we continue to look at our Doppler radar, just interesting. I know last year this time we were tracking some tropical cyclones there. Still, this year not having to do that, at least. I know Zeta was on the board here this time last year as we're looking back a year later from that now. Hit the New Orleans area. We had, I know yesterday toward Lake Charles there, a nasty tornado moved through and toward Calcasieu Parish, and then I know we also had toward Orange County, Texas, we had a tornado move through. Got to watch down toward maybe Orange County, Florida later for some tornadic action. Now to the question as we continue to look here at some at least broad rotation here around I-75 in Marion County. So just got to be careful. I know we don't actually have a tornado warning down here, but I've seen this before where sometimes you can have a tornado and just be kind of hard to see. I know 4 more tornado warnings, but 2 areas we're watching with that enhanced wind potential here, lightning, and again, maybe some areas of weak rotation to monitor. So be back at 1 o'clock unless we have some new information for you, like a tornado warning here, something that's a little more urgent. But Palaco, Ocala, getting some of the worst here in the next little bit, and St. Augustine here through about 1:30 or so. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at the top of the hour, continuing our coverage here this afternoon of some storms here, some severe storms potentially, as we're looking down toward Marion County. You can see that here on the radar. Just kind of getting past Ocala right now, moving toward Bellevue. Some pretty nasty winds maybe reaching the surface there. We'll find out if there's any damage later on in toward that area. And then up toward the north, we do see here in St. Johns County, it's a thunderstorm warning, some rotation here southwest to St. Augustine, nothing extreme, and then a little more wind enhancement here as we're getting east of Palatka, though it looks like some of the worst of this, you can kind of see an east-northeasterly component of things, so some of the worst of this here will probably be more into northern Flagler, extreme northern Flagler, toward Marineland versus Palm Coast. So something to kind of keep an eye on, though, is the accent down toward the south as well, because some of this will also be moving in toward Flagler County here over the next little bit. So keeping you guys up to date in toward that area as we go ahead and zoom back on out just a little bit here. You can see here, it's a thunderstorm warning now issued for Pasco County here, as there is some weak rotation as well down toward parts of west central Florida with this line. So let's go ahead and go over toward the Tampa Bay radar now. You're able to see what's happening here as we get down in toward this area on a velocity mode of things. You'll kind of see how the wind is setting on up here in just a moment, as this is something to get out of our area, but definitely some rotation there. I know there's a report of a rotating wall cloud there on a spotter just a little while ago, so seeing that potential in toward that region. Again, west central Florida, not in our area, but that is probably more impressive than what we're seeing right now in our area. This is just east, it looks like, there of State Road 589 and this west there of US 41, so going to continue to track that potential there as we go back up toward the north now. We'll reset this reader, and then let's go back to the broader viewpoint of the situation now. You'll be able to see that line pretty nicely here on our other mode of things. You can kind of see the three different warnings popping on out from north to south now. Seeing some weak areas of rotation here within the Doppler, but Weather Service in Tampa saying and that warning out of our area. Not enough confidence for a tornado warning right now based on the vertical radar signature. So gonna have to continue to watch that. Not enough confidence based on that. So seeing it in there. But again, we're looking up toward the northeast core temperatures down toward Ocala, toward in the areas there in Marion County toward 75. You see the lightning though moving through as well. Again, Bellevue gonna be getting hit here pretty soon. Sadie and Santos. We're already getting some of that heavier accent as we're looking. You see Silver Springs, they're still getting the heavier accent here as this has that northeasterly component. Palatka going down 68 there. St. Augustine going to be getting some heavier wind and rain pretty soon in St. Johns County. 73 degrees there right now. And then I know Jacksonville is pretty quiet right now. Could have a little more rain later on in and around, but the severe threat definitely going down behind the main line here. This main line, we have the warnings, obviously. You see some of these different ones here on the screen, but this area toward Jacksonville, about 74 degrees there as we're looking in towards some different neighborhoods, 71 to be precise there at the International Airport. And then as we go ahead toward the baseball grounds camera right now, you're able to see what's happening. Pretty interesting feature there on that camera with the cloud cover, but nothing too robust as we're kind of seeing that rain move on out for the time being there in Jacksonville. So again, we'll go ahead and move away from this angle right now. Let's go ahead and pop back up here. Look toward Suwannee County, toward areas north of Branford around McAlpin. You can see some heavier rain there. But nothing, again, too robust back behind as the risk has been reduced here. Tornado watch still there, but the risk has been reduced as we look off toward the west. Marginal risk, Live Oak, Lake City, east, and then you see Tallahassee not even in the risk for thunderstorms anymore, Albany either. So definitely some good news here, but you can see these temperatures warmer to the south, more supportive of the severe storm development. And then our tornado parameters there. Those align, your energy values align here as well. So again, let's go ahead and pop up some satellite information now, because this will kind of see us where some of the more vigorous thunderstorm action is, and you can kind of see here toward Ocala, toward west central Florida as well, kind of getting more vigorous action. So let me go ahead now, if I can, take this off. We'll go back on over toward other mode. Let's see here. Where do we want to take you now? We'll take you on over to the radar scope computer and look towards St. Augustine, as there is a little bit of weak rotation here. This could be kind of interesting to look at. So you see a little bit of that here within our algorithms. Nothing too terribly dangerous looking right now, but still I got the 60 not out of the question here. As we're looking closer toward Interstate 95, you see the little enhancement here. Again, I'm moving towards St. Augustine over the next few minutes. Up toward the north here, we get up toward areas north of Volcano Beach. You see a little enhancement there, and in the south, a little bit of something. But again, it looks like the worst of this storminess will be staying there north of Palm Coast. You can kind of see here as we're tracking things just on the east side of Palatka. East Palatka getting it pretty good right now here. And I'm not drawing the best box, but you kind of get the idea with that. As things are going, we'll kind of put a loop on here to see you guys the direction of this and an indication of the speed here as well. Now you'll kind of see here some of this as we look back into the timeline a little bit with this. Again, we're looking right now about 104 on this current radar view as we're getting the latest information in, but then this takes you back to about 1245, so moving pretty quick here, folks. Pretty progressive movement here. As you can kind of see, again, the storm is having that little northerly component here as well, some more southern St. Johns County there versus northern Flagler County. As we go ahead and zoom back out, we have to watch some of this action though, because it's kind of coming up from the south, and this could have more of an impact on Flagler County. So we have to kind of see how things are going here with some of this as the action tries to move on in over the next little bit. So again, just tracking that here within our Doppler algorithms. We're trying to see how the winds are translating. Haven't got any reports in, so that's good. Hopefully we're not getting the winds to the surface as much as they could be getting down there. We did have a gust of 55 earlier, Cedar Key 45 out toward Gainesville, but not necessarily damage reports there, which is great. Thought things would be a little bit worse here, but still could be pretty nasty out over parts of Central Florida, out of our area, and then when storms are out of our area, we'll be going off, but you always want to make sure you're following along with the local affiliates down there if things break into toward the Tampa, Orlando markets when things get out of our coverage zone. Yes, if cloudweather.com/radar, and if something really gets serious, we'll make sure to cut in with some type of special report if we have like a tornado emergency, but that's never happened here in the state of Florida before, and I hope that doesn't happen here as we're looking ahead. We're not anticipating tornadoes to that degree here. If we get anything, it'd be on that weaker tornado variety here with this weather setup. So that's the good news with that. But, again, you also just want to make sure you're following along here as we just got another update. Severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag continuing from Marion County now until 1:30. That embedded rotation, that QLCS type tornado, be a weaker type tornado. We'll continue to watch for that threat as we look at our power outage information now. Let me go ahead and punch this up. You kind of get an idea of what some of these look like here. Some of our different numbers here across our area. Citrus County, a couple thousand. That's outside of the ozone, but Levy, Marion, not seeing too many customers in the dark, so this storm not having as much of an impact here. It doesn't seem delayed a little bit, but still definitely some good news here in the short term as we're looking at things, as we're continuing to monitor things. I know that pressure really getting low now where I'm at, maybe at that lowest pressure of the year pretty much here on my weather station now. So I know kind of pulling that off real quick, but let me go ahead and come back on camera. I know we're looking at some of our different things here that we show you within our system, but let me go ahead now. If we can, I'm going to pop up. Let's see, where do we want to take you on this? Let me come back over here toward the wall, and you can see again this line coming on through that lowest pressure here, 1,005.5 millibars, and then that's the lowest for October now. It looks like the lowest really for the year, so definitely interesting. Could have been a lot worse with that type of scenario here in play with that lower pressure here, because we have that spin around, but it's not seeing enough of that energy come on up here within our setup locally. But just stay with me. We'll be back at 1:30 with more details, unless we have something we need to break back in for a little more urgency, like like a tornado warning. So just stay tuned. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at the bottom of the hour, continuing our severe weather coverage as we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for parts of it. Looks like Flagler, Miriam, Putnam, and St. John's until 2:30, and that may end up being our last warning in our area today unless something maybe rotates in this and prompts a tornado warning. But the way things are kind of moving here, this accident kind of getting out of here pretty quick. Granted, this little area here toward the south and east going to linger because of the way things are with the orientation, but we are going to be seeing some of this come on in toward Flagler County over the next little bit. So some of these areas around Palm Coast, Marineland, Bunnell, going to be getting to the action. So I know Ray's watching there on YouTube. Palm Coast be getting in this here in the next 45 minutes or so. It looks like they're in toward Flagler County. Thanks so much for watching there, Ray, as we're looking toward that region. But again, looking here at some of our other accent as we get further down this line, you do see here in toward southeastern parts of Marion County. Some of this might go more toward Volusia County, which is out of our area, maybe even in toward Lake County here as well. So going to be kind of seeing how things translate more down toward the Melbourne area there as we're looking at our Doppler radar technology. But again, seeing the wind enhancement, some it's not quite as maybe robust as it looked like a little while ago, but we are on the edge of the radar, and there's a little bit of weak rotation here as well. So just got to be kind of cognizant of that here. I know we did have a tornado warning in the Tampa area a little while ago for a waterspout trying to move on shore. Wasn't really impressive, and we're kind of on here for our local area, so I didn't think I needed to cut in for that. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning still north of Tampa, but also a tornado warning here south of Tampa, a really discreet little storm east of Venice. This is a tornado warning for Manatee and Sarasota counties here until about 1:45. So seeing some radar indicated rotation there north of Northport, Warm Mineral Springs under this warning here as well. So definitely interesting to see. But if you look here, our energy values are really high, and then our tornado parameters are pretty high there as well. So with that being discrete like that, it's able to kind of get its own energy to be able to develop some tornado warning down that way. And the tornado watch has been extended now a little bit further in. You can see Orlando under this now, so something to be watching as they get into towards central Florida. But warning right now for our area includes eastern Marion, parts of Putnam, parts of St. John's, and then Flagler County here until 2:30 this afternoon. 60-mile-an-hour winds here. Excuse me, I apologize, but 60-mile-an-hour winds as we continue to track things here. That's a possibility. Flagler, southeastern St. John's, southeastern Marion, southeastern Putnam, with severe thunderstorms along a line there extending from near Pomona Park there to Ocala there, moving east at 30, though again a little bit of a northerly component. But this should all be off the coast here next hour, maybe an hour and a half. Palm Coast, St. Augustine, Palatka, some of these areas is barely clipped, some of them more in the warning as we see Flagler Beach, Bunnell, Crescent City, Pomona Park, Hastings, East Palatka, and Salt Springs. So watching this, you have to see the tornado watch is trimmed some to get rid of Columbia County. Surprising a little bit that they didn't get rid of Bradford a lot with some of these, but I guess it's erring on the side of caution there at the Storm Prediction Center and at the Weather Service there in conjunction, just to make sure we don't have some redevelopment back here. But you see some of the storminess here moving more towards central Florida, becoming more of a threat for them, but we're still going to keep watching here. Again, parts of Marion County, we get here just east of Lynn, Salt Springs, a lot of lightning around. Crescent City there, going to be getting into this soon. You see Galveston, Hastings, and then areas there towards St. Augustine to the south, seeing some more robust action there as well. So this line definitely a little more organized as it has more energy toward the south, but toward the north we just never had those temperatures get warm enough here for the things to kind of come together here with the destabilization. So that's something that's been some good news, but we're going to keep watching here, keep monitoring the situation. I'll be back here at the top of the hour unless we have a tornado warning, something like that for our local area. We'll be wrapping this covered up probably about an hour or so once that severe thunderstorm warning expires. Could expire early, but granted it doesn't expire early. Probably wrapping up the coverage here in about an hour, give or take here, as we're watching the situation impact parts of the Sunshine State on this Thursday, October 28, 2021. Some fall severe weather where you have some of the shear and energy profiles coming together here to cause issues, at least in some spots. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here at the top of the hour here at 2 o'clock. You're looking at that Doppler radar right now. You see more of that tornado watch now trimmed back, that yellow overlay there, not including Bradford, Alachua anymore. Union, that's some good news. And that threat shifting down toward the south as we kind of been talking about over the last little bit. And in fact, let's go ahead and give you guys a higher resolution here viewpoint of what is happening. You do see this line moving in toward Flagler County right now. The gusts so far off toward the west not too strong, and the velocity is not showing up too strong, but we want to kind of err on the side of caution here with this potential as we're continuing to see how things are going in toward Flagler County, just to make sure some of this wind doesn't reach the surface right near the coast there. But severe thunderstorm warning does continue to 2:30 there for parts of Flagler, Merriam, Putnam, and St. John's. And then as we get down toward central Florida, a little more robust maybe down toward areas there around Lake County. I know even Orlando and Altamont Springs over the next little bit. Going to be kind of seeing how things get going in toward that general vicinity. Maybe ultimately some of this translating off in toward Volusia County there around Daytona Beach as well. So going to be kind of tracking things down in that general direction, and most of the area kind of getting a little more clear in terms of the rain. You do see some rain around, but then there's winds really picking up toward Tallahassee behind things. That wind really kind of coming in. Temperatures there are pretty warm, but the pressure pretty low, and the winds there gusting about 26 miles an hour in the latest update. So that's going to be kind of the story here, as we do have some cool air coming in though with those overnight lows. That's going to be a big story here as we're looking ahead toward the weekend. I know I should award the weekend that launched there toward Cape Canaveral early Saturday morning as of last check. Going to be a man missing there, so something to keep an eye on. The weather there won't be impacted by this line unless we have any type of damage, of course, from these storms toward that region. Hopefully we don't end up with anything like that, but this line will be kind of impacting the Kennedy Space Center area here over the next little bit, so something for them to be monitoring at least as we go ahead and take you over toward a broader viewpoint again. The clearer conditions out west, and you can see on our camera shot now a lot better shot than what we were showing you this morning there out toward Tallahassee and Leon County. I know it was kind of gloomy looking there earlier with the storms in the vicinity, but now clearing out, that wind picking up there in toward Tallahassee, making now a little bit cool weekend there for Halloween, but also pretty nice overall. So starting to see that there as we get out toward the west there. And then as we go back over toward the east, with the baseball grounds camera in Jacksonville, still going to be kind of showing you some darker skies, even though things are a little bit better overall. The main line kind of pushing out, things not as bad as they could have been. We still have some scattered shower action around, and maybe even some of that lingering into tomorrow as well. We'll just kind of wait and see in terms of that in this overall pattern. But let's go ahead now and take another look here. You see southeastern Marion, Flagler here with some of this action, Lake County. Let's go to the terminal radar in Orlando here to see what's happening down toward Lake County. You can kind of see a little bit of rotation even here around Umatilla to see if we get some type of tornado warning there as we get further down as well in toward Lake County. So something to kind of be monitoring there. Sometimes terminal radar is going to give you a little bit different look at things, but also have a tornado warning down toward Hardy, Manatee, and Sarasota. As you hear that beep, giving us the update right now on that, as the radar there indicating a possible tornado 8 miles northwest of Mayaca City, or 19 miles east of Sarasota, moving northeast at about 55 miles an hour. So right in here on the edge of the polygon, in fact, and this polygon, let's see if we have the update. This is the update here on the screen. So watching this move northeast at 55 miles an hour, and there is a report of a rotating wall cloud there in parts of Sarasota County, just north of Fruitland Road there, east of 75. So seeing some of that potential down there with a more discrete area within the radar, not as discrete as something like this. We saw some discrete structures here earlier. I know one of these producing a tornado warning, but you can kind of see here another tornado warning down south, so kind of interesting for those folks down there. The tornado watch in Plato 5, and then we're going to keep watching all of that. We'll be watching our local picture as well, but again, only had the one tornado warning for Dixie County here early this morning. Things are not really able to become as energized. We didn't get those temperatures quite as warm as that energy kind of staying confined. Finally kind of broke loose a little bit there toward the north, but as things were kind of being squeezed, we were kind of seeing things ultimately be pushed away here as well in the overall grand scheme of things. So again, just monitoring things. Here's the overview of this radar look again. You see southeastern Marion pretty much toward the forest areas there and rural areas there in Marion, and then you see areas here off toward Flagler, Bunnell, Palm Coast there, Marineland. Going to be getting into some of this over the next 30 minutes or so, with the severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect till 2:30. So continue to watch this. We'll keep you up to date and be back here at the bottom of the hour, probably to wrap things up, unless we need to stay on a little longer or break back in sooner for something that does emerge here across the area, or somewhere in another part of the state, something really serious breaking out. Might stay on a little bit longer for that. But otherwise, be back here in about 24 minutes. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at the bottom of the hour to go ahead and start to wrap things up with the coverage. As you see, a severe thunderstorm warning for Flagler County no longer in effect. The Weather Service talking about the broken squall line does continue to progress rapidly east-northeastward across Flagler County, and there is some strengthening convection around Lake George, which could produce a downburst there with winds of 45 to 55 miles per hour that impacts mainly southern parts of Flagler County during the next 30 to 45 minutes. But again, no longer any warning in our local area, but we're still watching stuff to the south. I know we're going to kind of give you guys an overview before we wrap this up here on this Thursday. So let's go ahead and look down here. You do see a tornado warning here as we get toward parts of Manatee and Hardy counties in west central Florida to about 2:45 at 2:27. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Mayaca City, or about 22 miles west of Ocala, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. Pretty rural area at this point, but this kind of tells the story about we've seen quite a few tornado warnings to the south, and you've seen more energy, more shear for this to happen. That's been the story down there here, folks. We kind of got lucky with that here, looking toward our local area. As I look at some things here behind the scenes, I know losing a few frames here and there, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Is in severe weather coverage, we do have quite a bit of information to load here into our system as we get the latest updates, of course, from the different outlets here, the different sources to keep you, your friends, and your family safe. So let's go ahead now and see where we want to go with this. I think we'll go ahead and punch up a look at that tornado warning on our other source down toward Hardy and Manatee counties right now. So let's go ahead and jump on over here if we can. We'll go ahead and show you guys what is going on here in this area. Again, a tornado warning as we get here in the area there, not far from Parmalee and Mayaca City. Again, you see the reds and the greens coming together. So again, watching the situation carefully. Let's see if we can go ahead and get you another update on that as our system kind of running behind. Looks like we're having some type of issue here, so I apologize for that. We're losing a lot of frames, I can tell. So let me see if we can punch up another map here while we get that fixed here. Again, about to wrap things up, so make sure we go ahead and get everything in for you guys on this Thursday. Let me go ahead and show you guys what's going on here with our PowerEdit.us map. Again, showing you guys the scene right now. 16,649 customers in the dark here across the Sunshine State. You see some areas here with a little bit of enhancement and outages as we get down more out of our area than anything. But even in our area, there are some customers in the dark. In Marion, Alachua, a little over 1,000, not any in Bradford. Also, you see Leon a little bit. I know some of these areas could have a few outages just from the wind kind of picking up just a little bit here in the storyline. I definitely seeing that kind of be a factor here. So I just got to be mindful of that as we are watching the weather situation, as we are watching things above here across the area. So I definitely kind of seeing the situation here as it does go. I know just checking some different things behind the scenes now to make sure we're able to be able to stick with you here again, watching our coverage here and just seeing how the storminess is taking hold here across the area. So again, seeing that there's a significant weather advisory at 3 o'clock for Flagler County, but things otherwise are a lot nicer now. For many of us, there's just some scattered showers around though. So let me go ahead and see if we can punch up our other source now. Go ahead and come back on camera. You see that rotation there toward areas there in central Florida, but toward northern Florida, that tornado watch being trimmed back. So let me go ahead and punch that up. Now you can see what's going on with this. This tornado watch no longer in play as we get up to the north here. You do see some areas of rain though. 75 corridor, some heavier pockets from time to time. But we're not expecting any severe weather, with that, and that's the good news. Just some downpour and that severe threat though pushing off away. If there's anything else we need to cut back in for, we will, but otherwise I think pretty much covered everything we need to. Again, the energy, the temperature's staying a little warmer to the south, and now cool air coming in, some gustier winds I know were noted out toward Tallahassee earlier, and that's kind of indicative of the overall scenario as just in time, I guess. The tornado watch now being canceled out here for Flagler, Marion, Putnam, and St. Johns counties. I know out toward Levy, technically still under it, but the threat really over there as well. So things really looking a lot nicer now You can kind of see those counties dropping on off the map, so perfect time in there. Threat pretty much over for any severe weather today in our area. I guess not completely zero until the Storm Prediction Center takes us out of the risk areas, but watching more towards central Florida as we get down toward areas around Orlando and Tampa here, because the parameters are still in play, especially as we look there in towards central Florida for the energy atmosphere to come together. So stay tuned. If there's anything else we need to break back in for, we will. But otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. Hope you have a great Halloween weekend. No formal update tonight. The wind's coming in, cooling things down. I know by the time we get in toward early next week, it'll still be a little bit cooler, but then warming closer toward average as we look ahead and toward the timeline. Have a great night. Have a great weekend.